Hi everyone, welcome to the video. This one is about my stock photography and stock videography earnings for the month of February 2025. And I'll start the video by telling you what I've been up to in February, and then I'll get into the earnings per stock photography agency, and then at the end I'll tell you how much I've made in total for February. So what have I been up to in February? For 2 weeks of that month I actually got the flu, so that took me out for half of the month, and I just due to the really severe headaches and lung infection, I just wasn't in the mood to photograph or upload digital assets to the agencies. I did recover, obviously, and then I started uploading a lot of assets. And a lot of these new uploads are selling. Many pics from Australia and also a couple from the Netherlands as well. What else has been happening? Well, I looked at my Adobe Premiere Pro, the software that I edit these videos in, and I made the decision to stop using that software to save myself 25 euros a month. Instead, I'm going for Davinci Resolve, which is a flat 300 euro rate for life, so that will pay itself off fairly quickly. You know, in these times I'm just looking at all of my costs, and it just doesn't make sense to have these overheads when I'm not earning enough to justify them. Another piece of big news is I shot another event a week or two ago, a week and a half ago, and that was a full day of driving and shooting to a town quite far away from The Hague, and I got back quite late at night. I took about 1,000 photos. I've used my experience to know what photos to take so that I reduce my editing time now. And at the end, after I delivered all of the edited photos to the client, I also did some video, and I made probably a minute and a half promotion video for the event and sent that to the client as an added bonus. That event shoot earned me 400 euros after costs. So anyway, let's get into my stock photography and videography sales per agency for the month of February. We'll start off with Alamy, and this is my biggest disappointment so far this year. I've only sold, I think, 3 assets for the entire year, and those sales were very small. I'm uploading heaps of photos, so it's just one of those things with Alamy. It's all or nothing. I'm hoping this will turn around in the next month or so, because it's quite disheartening. One of my sales was of a house spider. I've got 3 or 4 images of different house spiders now, and they are selling really well across the agencies. This commercial photo only sold for 99 cents, and that's without commission being taken out, which is about 40 to 50%. I also sold a editorial photo of a renowned building in the Netherlands called the Markt Hall in Rotterdam, and that's a very large hall that has a market at the bottom of it and in a couple of floors going up, and the rest of the building is residential apartments, and it's a very unique modern design and quite a famous building. That editorial photo earned me $4.35 gross, so after commissions all up I earned $2.45 for Alamy in February. Really pitiful. One of my passions other than stock photography is going out with my kids and doing metal detecting on the beach. And this beach is really special because along the dunes is the Atlantic Wall, And the Atlantic Wall was constructed by the Germans during World War II, and it extends all the way from Scandinavia to the south of France. And you can find some really interesting World War II artifacts, but more on that later. Just for shits and giggles, I thought I would add up all of the earnings I made for February for the small fish agencies like Deposit Photos, Big Stock, IEM and 123RF, and just see how much they earned me for the month of February. And in total it came to 83 cents. I don't upload to these agencies anymore. I see other stock photographers are getting similar returns, and they have like 13,000 plus images and videos in those portfolios. So it would basically be a waste of time and energy and resources uploading to those agencies now. It's just not worth it. Pond 5, another disappointing month. 0 sales, 0 video sales. I only upload videos. So there is that. Now to Getty iStock, which I've been uploading to frequently and increasing my portfolio there. I had one video sale which earned me $4.87, and that was a video of the poor old gannet trapped in plastic, taken on this very beach probably 6 or 7 years ago. So it's still earning for me. A low resolution HD shaky video. Another editorial video taken in Tasmania on my last trip, and that's of the main street of an old country town called New Norfolk in the Derwent Valley, about 50 kilometres north of Hobart, and that photo earned me $1.40. And I also sold 2 really strange opportunistic photos. I was going to the beach one day, this beach, and as I parked my car I walked past these 2 really new Volkswagens that had had parts stripped off their car by thieves, probably part of an organised crime gang, and then they ship those parts to different parts of Europe. So I sold 2 of those photos and they sold for 33 cents. I just mentioned it because it's quite a strange thing and shows you a little snapshot at the social side of life in Europe at the moment. Tassie sold while I was at the summit of Mount Wellington, and one of those sold for $3.44, which I'm really happy about, overlooking the scenic view of Hobart, and another one sold for $1.58. Even though I did sell some new photos and some strange photos, it was a disappointing month for Getty iStock, and I only made $16.45. Just real quick, this video is sponsored by Rima Nose, Ear and Eyeball Trimmer. It's especially effective for the palms and between the toes. I like to use it twice a week to stop that pesky hair from growing back. It's also useful for shoulders, upper back, lower back, sack and crack. Look in the description for the Rima, it won't be there. Okay, now on to Shutterstock, where I have 3,000 images in my portfolio and 342 videos. So it's going up, but the earnings are going down. So it'll be interesting to see if this merger with Getty iStock takes place and whether that will be a positive or a negative result for my earnings. I had 32 sales, but no video sales unfortunately in February. One highlight was I uploaded a recent video of a mammoth's tooth on the beach where I am now. And what I did was I went into a beachcomber's hut that's run by the municipality of The Hague, and they had this massive mammoth tooth on one of the shelves. And I just said to them, is it okay if I borrow it and take a photo of it on the beach? And I recently uploaded that, and that has earned me only 10 cents. But it is a recent upload, so it's a good sign for the future with that asset. Another recent one where I took a photo of a cannabis growing and processing plant in Tasmania. I was on public land, so outside of their property, and I used my 18 to 200 millimeter super zoom on the Canon, and I was able to get a fairly good sized portrait and landscape photo of this facility. That only earned me 17 cents. Best sale of the month was of a photo I took about 4 years ago of an urban fox at the Hoek van Holland, sniffing around some garbage bins and stuff and scavenging some scraps on the ground. And that photo, which is a commercial photo, earned me $3.61. Another recent photo from Tassie was a penguin crossing sign, and that only sold for 10 cents. But it's a good sign for future sales across the agencies that it's a popular subject. All up for Shutterstock, I only earned $13.54 in February. Okay, now on to my most successful agency, adobestock, where I have 1,679 images and 131 videos. They're a lot more picky than the other agencies, so before I learnt the trick to mark my assets as illustrative editorial in the key words, a lot of my editorial photos were rejected. So always remember that if you upload an editorial photo or video, and your acceptance rates will be higher. I had 2 sales of recent cars in Tasmania. This one at an outdoor car exhibition on public ground, and it was 2 shots of a classic Ferrari car, and they sold for all up $1.20 in total. And I was visiting the city of Leiden one day with my family, and I was walking outside of a museum which had a nice garden, and in that garden were beehives, and I noticed at the base of each of these beehives were dozens and dozens of honeybees which were just dead. And I thought, well, this is a strange phenomenon. So I looked up what happened, and apparently it's an annual thing. In the winter, honeybees just die off, and then their offspring hatch the following year and then take over from their parents. So I photographed portraits, landscapes, close-ups and different perspectives, and those photos are selling. So far I sold 2 of those photos for $1.96 as commercial images. So in total for adobestock I made $48. So this is a question I'm asking myself. adobestock by itself made more than Getty, iStock and Shutterstock combined. I'm asking myself, is it worth my while to go exclusive for photos and videos with adobestock? So over the next 6 months, I'm going to be evaluating whether it's worth my while uploading to these other agencies, or should I just get a higher percentage rate for my assets and go exclusive with adobestock. That means I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, and I really should see what happens with the Shutterstock Getty merger before I make any rash decisions, I suppose. Speaking of World War II artifacts, it was only 50 to 150 meters away from here that they recently found a German mortar shell. But enough of that. You're here to hear about my stock photography earnings. And how much did I earn in the month of February for stock photography and stock videography? Before I answer that, please give this video a like, and if you haven't already subscribed, that would be great if you could do so. That will help my channel out hugely. Okay, in the month of February, I earned This video is proudly brought to you by Andrew Balcombe's free air guitar course with demos. In this course I show you how to do Smells Like Teen's Toe Fungus, Enter Xander, and the all-time favourite, While My Guitar Gently Screams. If you want to learn air guitar like me, or a pro, have a look in the description. There'll be nothing there.